MDC's Director of Engineering. I'm here with Jason Waterbury, Jeff King. We'll present MDC's Integrated Plan Quarterly Report for the period July 1st to September 30th, 2025. On the agenda tonight, we have an update on project progress over this quarter, a schedule for projects that are in construction and others that will be going to construction, status of our small business and Hartford labor participation on those projects. Our next quarterly meeting is March 12th, 2026. At the March update, we will also present the results of our 2025 annual report. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to Jason to begin the presentation.
Thank you, Susan. Of course, now it's not working.
There we go.
Oh, no, okay. It's just delayed, I guess. This slide shows a refresher as to what the footprint is for our North Hartford pilot program. Again, the colors on the right are the NRZ areas that are included in this project, in this program. Sewer work in this area includes sewer and lateral repair and rehabilitation contracts, as well as sewer separation projects or contracts. Some example photos are also shown on this slide from some work that happened in Q3 with some lateral lining work in the Gully Brick area shown on the far left. Restoration from excavation repair in the middle, also in the Gully Brook area, which is the middle area of North Hartford. And then finally in the northeast corner, North Meadows area, we've got a manhole repair example photo. This slide has not changed from prior presentations. It's required as part of our consent order. No items were requested by the Commissioner in deep, therefore no changes were made to this slide. On this slide we have status updates from through Q3 for all of our consent order projects. No projects changed status within Q3, so there's no changes to any colors for any of the projects shown. However, you will notice some blue diamonds, which are new on this slide. Those are projects that we've identified as needing a milestone change or modification. We've been working with DEEP on that, and I'm going to go into more details in the next couple of slides as to the drivers behind those changes. The West Hartford SCS is the first project that had a milestone request change. That's due to a significant increase in excavation work. Even with all that excavation work, we will complete 92% of the mainline lining work by the current milestone, which is the end of this year. But with the fact that there's so much excavation work and we're moving into the winter, we have requested an extension to spring of 26. Then you've got the 18-inch brick projects, parts 1, 2, and 3. Part 1 is similar to West Hartford SCS, a lot of excavation work. You may have seen some of it in the Market Street area. And because of that, we've requested an extension to June of 26. That being said, 90% of it will be done by the current milestone. Part 2 has been advertised for construction. However, with the winter schedule, we didn't expect to start the construction right away. So that's why that milestone request was made. And then you've got Part 3, which is formally a new project. It does not exist in the current consent order, and that's why that's been added to this. It's been mentioned on previous presentations, and that's due to utility conflicts. Now, similar to prior presentations, we have mentioned the Winter Street sewer separation as likely needing an extension. Now that Phase 1, the sewer rehab, has started, and Phase 2 is nearing bid advertisement, we have formally asked for an extension for Phase 3, which is going from 2026 to the end of 2028. Now, the biggest change also to projects under consent order is the sequencing for Granby, which sewer separation projects, which I'm going to go into on the next 3 slides. Excuse me. As a refresher, the sewer separation work in Granby area, it started with the drainage study. That work is underway and nearly complete. I've talked about it in prior presentations. But then it was to go into sewer separation in the 7, 8, and 9 contract areas, which are yellow, blue, and orange, shown in order on your screen. Those areas were identified as the initial areas of sewer separation in Granby and were expected to be completed with construction by the end of 2028. This is not... Oh, there we go. Somehow it's unclipped. The reason the Granby 7, 8, and 9 projects were expected to go first was because there was a 108-inch conduit in that area that could be used as an outfall owned by the city of Hartford. However, as part of the drainage study, the field work and then subsequent engineering analysis showed that the current state of that conduit could not handle the flows from all three of these projects together without causing harm to the area. We're working with the city to mitigate that situation. However, that did obviously cause some concerns. The study also revealed and indicated that that's also a key contributor to some of the street flooding that occurred in some extreme rain events in this area in the past. Now, with that in mind, with the 108-inch conduit and concerns about proceeding with 7, 8, and 9 in its current schedule, we started reevaluating what is a better sequence for separation. Obviously prioritizing getting work done as fast as possible in the Granby area. Now, the map on the right-hand side, I'm going to go through what the colors mean first. Green is good. Green means it's been separated already. So you've got the lower left-hand corner, Granby 2 and 5. That separation that was done about 10, 12 years ago. And then the middle of that yellow area is a green strip. That's the Durham Street project area. Now, the numbers just represent contract numbers. So again, you see 7, 8, 9 being in the yellow area. Those are the projects that we have concern going with right away because it drains to that 108-inch conduit. Now the other packages, I should say the package A was the yellow area. The other packages were package B, which was the blue area, and package C, which is the red area. We looked at moving ahead with one of those packages instead of all of 7, 8, 9, which is package A. Package B is obviously much larger, much more costlier, probably would have not been able to be done in the same level or schedule as what was originally intended for 7, 8, 9. And then when we looked at package C, which is Granby 4 and Granby 11, which is a new outfall, that area appeared to be an area that we can get done in a similar schedule fashion to what was intended for 7, 8, 9, and also, and more importantly, in similar cost. So the overall clean water project charge would be maintained around the same level, wouldn't be any impact. Additionally, package 4 is an area that does experience some street flooding, so there was more of a benefit to proceeding with that area compared to the blue area, which is package B. When we furthered along this analysis, we landed on our official recommendation at DEEP was proceeding with package C, which is Granby 4 and Granby 11. In addition to that, we would proceed with Granby 7. This would be done in conjunction with working with the city to at least start making some improvements to that 108 so that it can at least handle the Granby 7 flows. Proceeding with Granby 7 does not require a consent order change, and we will be able to proceed with that project and complete the construction by its current milestone date, which is the end of 2028. So that project will be completed on schedule. The proceeding with Granby 4 and 11, that will require a consent order modification, like I mentioned a couple slides ago. So in order to proceed with the 4 and 11 design, we do have to officially delete 8 and 9 from our consent order, at least phase 1 of the consent order. The work will obviously still occur in a future phase of the integrated plan, and then proceed with 4 and 11. It is our expectation that Granby 4 would be completed in 2031 and Granby 11 would be completed in 2032. That's based on an expected design start of either late 26 or early 27 following consent order modification. This slide shows some example photos of some of that deep excavation drainage work we did on the Westland Street area. That project is obviously still underway, which I'll talk about in a second. And then example outreach flyers that were done for the Tower Avenue area and Woodstock Branford area following completion of those two projects, which were done over a year ago, both ahead of schedule. Again, a refresher for anyone who has separation work planned at their property of what to expect. These were photos were taken for the Woodstock Branford project area. Top left photo being the existing conditions before construction. Bottom left photo being what the property looked like after construction, with the roof leader no longer going into the basement, now going to the ground. And then just from a schematic point of perspective, the picture on the right shows where all those pipes are typically going on one of these separation projects. Obviously, we would backfill and restore the property. It's not moving. What's that? Oh, okay. This slide shows our CSO reductions by project, and the green being what was completed. No changes to this slide, as no new projects were completed in quarter three.
Pick it up.
Yeah, it's not that. Okay, yeah. This slide shows consent order projects, non-consent order projects that are going on. In quarter three, we did about 6 miles of lining work on our on-call program in quarter three. That's to be expected with the warmer weather and longer days. And then you've got the easement clearing work that has been ongoing with us still continuing in Weathersfield. And then the next big non-consent order project is the rehab of easement sewers in Bloomfield, which is going on and expected to go to construction in 2026. Now you've got projects in the overall status of projects in North Hartford. No changes this slide. We're still in construction pretty much everywhere, which I'm sure people realize. No status has changed in our quarter three. You're gonna have to toggle through the. Yeah. This is gonna be an interesting one. Technical difficulties. Next one. Yep. There we go. This is our expedited sewer separation projects. Working from left to right, you've got Durham and Woodstock Branford, which are complete public and private property work. And then you've got the middle, which is Westland Garden, which I mentioned is still in construction. We expect that project to finish in the middle of 2026. And then you've got the far right, which is the Windsor Street area, again, been split up into 3 different phases. The rehab work is ongoing now, followed by the water main work, and then the storm drain work. And then you've got the Tower Avenue area, which is been completed. That was a sewer and lateral repair work. And then the next 3 were the large sewer rehab work projects, lateral and mainline. We're toggling. Wait, there you go. It's okay. This is the North Branch area. We are approximately 96% done with our mainline work and about 56% done with our lateral lining work. And then you've got the North Meadows area, which should be the next one, which is about 15% done with its mainline work and 6% with its lateral, followed by Gully, which is, again, the middle of the area, which is approximately 55% done with its mainline work and 10% done with its lateral lining work. Again, all these numbers are through the end of quarter three. Then you've got the North Branch drainage area, which does have its own slide, which I did sort of allude to already with the Granby 7, 8, 9 sequence conversation. And here is 7, 8, 9, which has not changed on this slide yet since the consent order hasn't been modified. But again, that's likely to change in future presentations. And then this is kind of everything. Next slide. There we go. This slide shows a refresher as to how customers could participate in the House Connection program or backup prevention program. Participation is important, but it is again purely driven by customers, contacting and reaching out to us, even with all of our outreach. This slide shows some examples of before and after of a house that participated in the backup prevention program. There's no real standard as to what to expect, but this just shows examples of what types of work that a customer could see, with the green being the new work on the left or the right, and the red being what was the existing conditions. And then more example work from our backup prevention program with plumbing protections on the left, and then what was an open clean out that's been replaced with a sump pump and its discharge on the right. Now you've got an update through quarter three for all of our backup prevention work. In quarter three, we reached out to 841 properties, of which 60 responded, and of those, approximately 56 had recommended improvements. Obviously, those 60 versus 841 is not a very high number, so we're continuing to ramp up our outreach. Overall, we've had 3,921 properties contacted, some of those multiple times, with 940 responses. And of those 940, 751 had recommended improvements, with a small percentage of that declining, that being the 39 number on the right in the pie chart, and then 385 of the 751 have been completed. This slide shows our the number of customers that participated in our backup prevention or house connection programs in quarter three. Numbers are slightly lower compared to quarters 1 and 2, again driven by customer calls. And this participation could have been just an inspection, or could have could include inspection out fully to actual improvements made, depending on what was needed. It's me multiple toggles. Yeah, so now you've got projects, consent order projects outside of North Hartford, but still in Hartford. The green at the top being those lining contracts that were completed early on in the program. And then you've got the 18-inch brick projects. Part 1 is shown as gold because it's still in construction with an expected completion date in the middle of 2026. Parts 2 and 3 will be separated on future presentations, as Part 2 was advertised for, construction bids were opened very, very recently, so that'll be going into construction in early 26. And then Part 3, the design will start off in early 26. Now you've got the tunnel projects. This is a slight change just graphically from prior presentations, as contracts 2 and 5 have been completed for a while and they're shown in green, with contract 3 being the pump station as being the only active piece of construction for the tunnel that's still underway, and that's expected to be completed in the middle of 26. And then you've got N30 improvements, which is a rehab of a CSO area it actually has full 1-year level control right now for the CSO, and that was completed about a year ago. Now you've got the projects that are consent order projects outside of Hartford. No change to any status. West Hartford SCS, as a refresher, the consent order deadline or milestone that we did request is only for the mainline work, as that's the work that was in the consent order. That work is approximately 44% complete through the end of the end of quarter 3 for the mainline work. And now this slide shows an update on the North Branch Park River drainage study through the end of quarter 3. Key accomplishments in quarter 3 include our consultant that was hired by the City of Hartford and us completing its revisions to the report for the river improvements that went to the city. In addition, the report for the preliminary design for the sewer separation is complete. There was some modifications to the drawings that are still being worked on in quarter 3, as well as obviously some revisions to the overall plan for sequencing based on that conversation I had a couple slides ago for the Granby sewer separation area. Hartford drainage study, again, as a refresher, this is a key precursor to our 2028 long-term control plan update, with a deadline for a piece of it being the Franklin Avenue area being done by the end of 2027. The flow metering has been completed. We are now in quarter 3. We started the CCTV work. The field work was investigations of water courses, rivers, brooks, conduits, etc., as well as starting off the hydraulic modeling based on the results of that flow metering. This will extend through 2027, this program. The field work will be wrapping up pretty soon. Now for the key performance indicators district-wide. Of note, you'll see that there's several indicators on here where half of the year-to-date work was done in quarter 3, and that's the sewer main and sewer lateral rehab work, as well as the storm lateral installation and private property work. And that's mainly driven by the fact that, again, quarter 3 is a very productive quarter for construction. Quarter 4, I expect those numbers to be pretty similar as we move forward. And other numbers remain relatively constant. And then looking at North Hartford alone, obviously the storm lateral and the private property separation numbers, those are the same as that's where that work was done, was done in North Hartford. Those half of the year-to-date work was done in quarter 3. Other numbers remain relatively constant with the exception of lateral rehab work. We did double our production in quarter 3 compared to quarter 2. This slide and the next slide, no changes. This is the CSO reductions for N2 and N4 compared to our overall goal. No new projects were completed in this area, so this slide wasn't changed. And in similar fashion, looking at the North Meadows and Gully Brook area, CSOs, no new projects were completed in quarter 3, so these numbers did not change. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Jeff.
Thank you, Jason.
At the point.
So before we get into our workforce development and contractor update, we just want to give an update on our outreach. This is where everything gains success with communication to the public. So we want to ensure that people are aware that we have an outreach office located at 179 Barber Street, where the community is more than welcome to come in to talk to us on project schedule, ask questions, whether you need help with jobs, whether you need help as a contractor with your career development. It's a great location. It's our anchor in the North End while all these projects are going on for people to get updated. But as we're doing outreach, we're doing it in successful ways as mailings, doing door-to-door knocking, where our staff is attending NRZ meetings, group meetings, and we're doing any and everything possible to make sure that we're getting the schedule and the message out there and being accessible to the community. So we recommend if you need any updates for construction, please visit our website. We have overall project updates and even information on job postings at the MDC. Next slide. So as we always talk about, we hold our monthly clinics for our contractors so they can continue to stay up to date on the latest practices. We continue to team with our partners to hold these monthly clinics. This quarter, we put a focus on navigating state and municipal opportunities, teaching contractors how they can get out there and search for job opportunities for the MDC as well as other municipalities, since we have the same bidding process. As always, we help contractors navigate new things in the industry, such as the SAM.gov ID. That's a safety feature for contractors. They need that in order to get their DAS certification. It's basically making sure that their EIN number isn't out there and giving them their own personal identification number. But what was very interesting and critical this quarter was our partnership with HEDCO. In this quarter, we really dug in on how are we going to keep up to date with our self-imposed Hartford resident goal. So with this partnership with HEDCO, we kind of got away from doing the matchmaking and joint venturing and went directly into our pool of minority contractors and picked out which ones needed help. And we did that by doing a gap analysis, really finding out what did they need from a foundational standpoint so that they could build capacity to keep up with the MDC's workload. So we really focused on digital marketing this quarter, as well as estimating, so that they could get their numbers in order and really have a way of getting their business out there on a promotional standpoint so they could get in more work. In addition to doing that kind of work, what it fostered was more matchmaking on a one-to-one basis, where our utility services was able to onboard these minority contractors to take on the work under our backwater valve program and house connection program. So this quarter was, keeping up with the clinics, but also building a capacity for these contractors to take on more work at the MDC. So in addition to that, we continued with our field mentorship, where our inspectors would go out in the field and assist these contractors taking on more work to make sure that quality of the work stayed consistent. So again, as these quarters go along, we like to keep a big presence in expanding our community engagement and talent pipeline, whether it's contractors or employees. We like to get out into the community at various events. So we continue to do our visibility with the Greater Hartford African American Alliance, giving that group of people information, as well as receiving feedback so we could keep our outreach going and give updates on our Hartford participation goal. In addition, we would continue to go to the local NRZ meetings to give monthly updates, as well as get feedback from the community on what's happening in our project areas. A couple other special events we continue to take part in is the Hartford Public High School. We have strategic partnerships with Pratt & Whitney for their advisory board, and we met in July and in September to really team up with other people in our industry who are looking for students that are that are talented, that want to get into the construction industry, so that we could keep our prospects open for when we're doing our tri-trade recruitment. In addition, we went to a couple job fairs, as you see. The Hartford Athletic Soccer Field had a big job fair on September 10th. It was broadcasted on Channel 8. We were able to meet a lot of people looking for positions and doing more matchmaking and networking with individuals that we met at that event. In addition to teaming up with HEDCO to really spread the word on the events we went to and promote the contractors that were part of that program. So as far as Q3, we had our second annual work-based learning program. We talked about the tri-trade program that happened in Q2 of this year. In Q3, we were able to bring on 8 interns from that tri-trade event, and they were able to work across our various departments at MDC. We definitely had a change in cohort this year, and we were able to bring on our first female in this tri-trade group who was interested in engineering. She worked in our plant maintenance department. And then this year we had a little bit more of a hands-on approach with our mentorship, where Carlos Bravo and myself would check in with the interns on a bi-weekly basis just to get feedback from them, as well as our managers in the various departments, so that we could have a really smooth experience this time around. From our cohort from 2024, we were able to have a hands-on approach with our mentoring. We had an individual from Newington come on as an OIT, operator in training, and we were able to map out some field experiences and a career path, so that this individual could study to get his Class 1 license as a wastewater treatment operator. So this year we brought in more interns, but we also did a very big hands-on approach in mentoring the students we brought in last year who ended up becoming employees. And through the HEDCO program, we were able to now do some more matchmaking, where we had, I want to say, 50 people apply for the tri-trade program this year, and we had 50 people last year. So we were able to now do some more fine-tuning with the matchmaking. And so the contractors who participated into that HEDCO program, as you can see, Aztec Landscaping, Top Notch Flaggers, and TT&CA, we were able to do some hiring, one-on-one hiring through those 2 cohorts, which I think was a super success. We're looking to make sure that we can keep up with our Hartford resident goal. So why not have our contractors who are from Hartford hire Hartford residents who have been participating in our tri-trade event? So I think that was a very awesome thing we could do this quarter. And so overall, what we've seen now is we have more systems in place, right, where we can do more road mapping, more mentoring, and really try to get people hired across all positions at the MDC through this type of mentorship and programming. And continually, through this program, we stay in contact with the Connecticut Technical Education Career Systems and the different high schools, so that we can continue to promote the success, so we can continue to build a good cohort for the years to come. Next slide. So as far as the metrics, I won't bore you going through all the numbers, but I would say overall, we can see that this quarter we were able to hire 3 Hartford residents for a total 20 Hartford residents for the entire 2.5 years we've been doing this. We expanded our prime contractors, such as Top Notch Flaggers, where he's now has 8 employees to date hired. 4 of those are Hartford residents. We've scaled those businesses that were part of the HEDCO program, where they've taken on, I want to say, 2 to 3x business between utility services and working for our subcontractors. And as far as the students that have gone through our tri-trade program and work-based learning program, we've now taken in 8 students this year for a total of 14 students for summer internships. We've had 0 turnover in those interns that we brought on for the summer. They all started and they all finished the program, which is a great success. And to date, we've hired 3 people as full-time MDC employees, 2 from Hartford Public High School, 1 from Newington. And as far as long-term employment, I think we've had like 13, we have 13 Hartford residents that have transitioned from short-term to long-term employment through the contractors who we've brought on board full-time, whether it's Top Notch, TT&CA, or Aztec Landscaping. Next slide. So a couple other things that have happened through these different partnerships is that we're now on, we have a great partnership with Pratt & Whitney and Ready CT. We've acquired 2 board seats from MDC employees sitting on that industry advisory board. And we have done a total of 5 tours between the various high schools, universities that we've gotten summer interns from, and technical schools that we've gone to recruit talent. And notably, I would say that the 2 biggest highlights for this quarter are the promotional videos we've had for our Tri-Trade program and the success we've had from the Head Coach Training Program. So we encourage you to visit our YouTube page where you can see firsthand the success we've had from the Tri-Trade and the success we've had from bringing on those contractors into the Head Coach program, where we've taught them everything from HR to estimating to accounting to tax preparation, which we'll report on some more for quarter 4. So I believe that's it, and I'll hand it back over to Jason. Actually, I'm sorry. Our Hartford resident goal. Our Hartford resident numbers. So this quarter we were at 27% Hartford resident participation, total of 6,200 hours. We're still above our overall 30% goal. I think next quarter you'll see an uptick because of the great success we've had with our contractors. I definitely know that those numbers have increased, so we'll be boosting those numbers back up to make sure we stay above 30% and shoot higher. Next slide. And as far as our WBE and MBE goals, you can see, there's different phases of the project where we bring on different contractors, whether they're MBE or WBE, but overall, we are trending above our MBE goals and our WBE goals. And I'll hand it back to Jason so you can close.
Thank you, Jeff. Obviously, we have a lot of ongoing initiatives and projects and programs for the North Hartford pilot program. Like Jeff said, we're doing very well with regards to the WB, MBE, and Hartford resident goals. If you have any other questions, there's obviously our link on the screen that shows you how to get to our website and where all of these projects are listed. You can also go to our local NRZ, as we are in communication with NRZs as to projects going on in their areas when key items are happening. And then as a reminder, these meetings occur the 2nd Thursday of the month in March, June, September, and December, with the next one happening in March. At this point in time, I will see if anyone has any comments or questions. You can close out of sharing. Hearing no comments or questions, we are going to close the meeting. Thank you for attending the Quarter 3 update.